Hey, what's up everybody? It's Chad Morris, aka Simo, and today I'm going to show you how I made this simple yet cool cedar and glass shelf. So I started off with my chainsaw mill by getting everything level and measured just right. There's a lot of variables, but eventually I got there and slowly ran my saw through round one. Next, I adjusted everything and repeated the leveling challenges for the other three sides of the log, which I was actually cutting for the square beam to make a mantle out of. I ended up having an idea with one of these extra pieces, so obviously I figured, hey, let's make a friggin' shelf. Yeah. Later that night, I began sanding it with my trusty flap disc. Loves me some flap discs, I'll tell you what. After sanding, I trimmed off a little excess on the ends, and my bro Gary helped me measure out the shelves. And then we did our best to cut a bunch of slits for the glass to fit in. Unfortunately, we don't have a sliding miter saw, which could have made flawless straight cuts all the way through. But I also realized after cutting that I could have just used a drill bit straight down through the side, just a little wider than the glass. That way the saw could just cut right to the drilled hole and keep a nice flat edge. But live and learn, we just cleaned it up and made it work anyways. With all the slots prepped, I moved on to sealing it with Seal Once by Marine, which helps protect against further cracking. I did 2 coats and then used Minwax polyacrylic for 3 coats for the final finish that gives it an extra layer of scratch protection as well as a decent gloss. Next, I realized if this was going to go flat against the wall, I would need to cut out a small section so that it could go over the molding that most people have on their walls. After sanding it, I sealed that part again and was ready to begin installing the glass shelves. I used my Gorilla Construction adhesive and used a paintbrush to apply a little in the grooves, and after that I used my hot glue gun just to help form a quick grab around the glass and hold it in place for the final step. I underestimated how hard it would be to get the shelves perfectly level on each axis, but luckily even after the hot glue dried I could still manipulate the glass just where I needed it. Next, I wasted several hours tediously outlining the front and back of each piece with tape because I thought it would look really nice with a clear resin perfectly sealed around the glass. But of course, I was literally on the very last piece of tape when I realized I used the wrong kind of tape and the resin would have stuck right to it all. Been a huge mess. That turned out to be a good thing though, because I ended up using a clear flex seal instead, and that was far more easier to use than I expected. I just ran my finger along each bead of silicone and made a nice smooth edge and kept making sure to wipe away any excess. With each piece sealed in place and dried overnight, I moved to the final step, which was simply drilling one inconspicuous hole just so you can have one screw go into a stud to keep it firmly in place. And with that, it was finally done and waiting to be on one of your walls. Let me know what you think. And I would ask you to like, share, subscribe, and whatnot, but instead I'll just mention that I would ask you. You know what I'm saying? Alright, y'all. That's all I got. So I'm on to the next one, and I hope you are too. See you next time.